It was a quiet night at the SETI Institute in California. Dr. Sarah Chen sat at her desk, sipping coffee and staring at screens full of data. For years, she and her team had searched the stars for signs of alien life. Tonight seemed like any other night, until a strange blip caught her eye. "That's odd," she muttered, leaning closer to the screen. The signal was unlike anything she had seen before. It pulsed with a steady rhythm, too regular to be natural space noise. Sarah's heart raced as she called her colleague, Dr. Mike Rodriguez. "Mike, you need to see this," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. Within minutes, the quiet lab was buzzing with activity. Scientists huddled around computers, analyzing the mysterious signal. As the sun rose, they became more and more certain. This was no natural phenomenon. This was a message from the stars. News spread quickly. By noon, the story had reached every corner of the globe. "Alien signal detected," screamed the headlines. Social media exploded with theories and speculation. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Garcia called an emergency meeting. Leaders from around the world joined via video link. The atmosphere was tense as they discussed this unprecedented situation. "What do we know so far?" President Garcia asked, her face grave. Dr. Chen, now at the White House, stood to address the world leaders. "The signal is artificial. There's no doubt about that," she explained. "It's coming from a point in space about 10 light-years away. We believe it's a distress call." A murmur ran through the room. The Chinese president leaned forward. "A distress call? You mean they need help?" Sarah nodded. "That's what we think. The signal repeats a mathematical sequence that we interpret as help or SOS. For hours, the leaders debated what to do. Some argued for caution, fearing a trap. Others pushed for immediate action. As night fell, they'd reached a decision. Humanity would answer the call. The next day, scientists worldwide worked tirelessly to decode more of the message. Slowly, a clearer picture emerged. The signal wasn't from a planet, but from a fleet of ships stranded in space. Dr. Rodriguez made another breakthrough late that evening. "We've decoded more of the message," he announced to the waiting world. "They say their propulsion system is broken. They're stuck, drifting in space." The news hit humanity like a tidal wave. An alien civilization, advanced enough for interstellar travel, was asking Earth for help. It seemed impossible, yet the evidence was clear. Experts from every field were called in. Engineers puzzled over the aliens' technology. Linguists worked to improve communication. Diplomats prepared for first contact. In every city, people gathered in parks and squares. Their eyes turned to the stars. Churches, mosques, and temples were full as people sought to understand this new reality. In schools, children drew pictures of alien ships and dreamed of space adventures. A week after the signal was first detected, humanity sent its reply. From radio telescopes around the world, a message beamed into space. "We hear you. We're coming to help." As the message sped towards the stranded fleet, Earth held its breath. How would the aliens react? What challenges lay ahead? Nobody knew, but one thing was certain. The universe had suddenly become a much bigger, more exciting place. In her lab, Sarah Chen looked out the window at the starry sky. A few months ago, she had been searching for the faintest signs of alien life. Now, she was part of a team preparing to save an alien fleet. She smiled, thinking of the incredible journey ahead. Humanity had been called to the stars, and they had answered. Whatever happened next, nothing would ever be the same again. 3 months after the distress signal was first detected, humanity was ready to make contact. The world's best linguists, scientists, and diplomats had gathered at a secret facility in Geneva, Switzerland. The air buzzed with nervous energy as they prepared for humanity's first conversation with an alien species. Dr. Emma Reeves, a brilliant linguist, sat at the main communication console. Her hands shook slightly as she adjusted her headset. "Are we ready?" she asked, Looking around the room, General Zhang of the United Nations Space Command nodded. As ready as we'll ever be. Begin transmission. Emma took a deep breath and pressed the button. This is Earth calling the stranded fleet. We are here to help. Can you understand us? For several tense minutes, there was no response. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Then suddenly, a series of clicks and whistles came through the speakers. They're responding, Emma exclaimed. She and her team quickly ran the alien sounds through their translation software. A robotic voice spoke. Earth, hear you. Help, needed. Thank you. The room erupted in cheers. Humans and aliens had just communicated for the first time in history. Over the next few hours, the conversation continued. The aliens, who called themselves the Zarkai, explained their situation in more detail. Our fleet escaped from war, the translation said. Engine failure, now stranded. Cannot fix. Different technology. Dr. Chen, who had been called in from SETI, leaned forward. Different technology. Can you explain? The answer came back. We use quantum fold drive. You use chemical rockets. Very different. Need new solution. The human team exchanged worried glances. How could they help if the alien technology was so advanced? But then, Dr. Rodriguez had an idea. Maybe that's our advantage, he said excitedly. We think differently. We might see solutions they can't. The conversation with the Zarkai continued for days. Slowly, the humans learned more about the aliens and their predicament. The Zarkai were a peaceful species, fleeing from an aggressive empire in their home galaxy. Their fleet carried over 1 million refugees, including many children. They had been drifting in space for what Earth would consider 50 years, their systems slowly failing. As the humans shared this information with the world, a wave of sympathy swept across the globe. These weren't just aliens. They were refugees in need of help. In China, a young engineer named Lai Wei couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the stranded fleet. If their quantum drives are broken, he mused, maybe we could adapt our chemical rockets to their ships. Meanwhile, in a small lab in Kenya, Dr. Amina Osai had another idea. What if we could use their quantum technology to enhance our propulsion systems? She wondered. We could reach them faster. All around the world, humans were thinking, inventing, and problem-solving like never before. The challenge of saving the Zarkai had united humanity in an unprecedented way. 2 weeks after first contact, the United Nations made a historic announcement. Earth would send a mission to help the Zarkai. We are calling for volunteers, the UN Secretary General declared. We need the best engineers, scientists, and problem solvers humanity has to offer. The response was overwhelming. Millions volunteered, ready to risk everything to save an alien species they had never met. As the selection process began, Dr. Emma Reeves received surprising news. The Zarkai had specifically requested her presence on the mission. You, first voice, the aliens explained. Trust you. Please come. Emma was stunned. She had never imagined leaving Earth, let alone being an ambassador to an alien species. But as she looked up at the stars, she knew she had to go. Across the globe, the chosen team members said goodbye to their families. They were heading into the unknown, facing incredible dangers. But they were also about to embark on the greatest adventure in human history. As the day of launch approached, a sense of hope and excitement filled the air. Humanity had been called to the stars, not to conquer, but to help. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, with their new alien friends. The rescue mission was about to begin. The world watched in awe as the chosen team of Earth's brightest minds gathered at the newly built Unified Space Center in Houston, Texas. The center buzzed with activity as engineers, scientists, and astronauts from every corner of the globe worked tirelessly to prepare for humanity's most ambitious mission yet. Dr. Emma Reeves stood in the main hangar, gazing up at the massive spaceship that would be their home for the next few years. The vessel, named Hope, was a marvel of human engineering, combining technologies from dozens of countries. Impressive, isn't it? A voice said behind her. Emma turned to see Lai Wei, the young Chinese engineer whose ideas had been crucial in designing the ship's propulsion system. Emma nodded, smiling. It's hard to believe we built this in just 6 months. When the whole world works together, nothing is impossible, Lai replied, his eyes shining with pride. Nearby, Dr. Amina Osei from Kenya was running final checks on the ship's communication systems. Her breakthrough in adapting Zarkai quantum technology had made real-time communication with Earth possible, even across vast distances. "How's it looking, Amina?" called out Colonel Jack Harper, the mission's military liaison. "All systems are green," Amina replied with a thumbs up. "We'll be able to talk to Houston as if we were just down the street." As the team worked, they were constantly reminded of the enormous responsibility they carried. The lives of over 1 million Zarkai refugees depended on their success. In a secure room deep within the facility, Dr. Mike Rodriguez and a team of xenobiologists were studying everything they had learned about Zarkai physiology. They needed to ensure the aliens could survive in Earth's atmosphere if evacuation became necessary. "Their biology is fascinatingly similar to ours in some ways," Mike mused, pointing to a holographic display. "But these differences in their respiratory system could be a problem if we're not careful." The preparation wasn't just technical. Psychologists worked with the crew to prepare them mentally for the challenges ahead. The journey would take 2 years each way, and they would be the first humans to leave the solar system. Dr. Sarah Chen, who had first discovered the alien signal, was now heading the cultural exchange program. She spent hours each day communicating with the Zarkai, learning their customs and teaching them about humanity. "They're so curious about us," Sarah told Emma during a break. "They keep asking about our music, our art. They can't wait to meet us in person." As launch day approached, the pressure intensified. Every system had to be perfect, every contingency planned for. The team worked around the clock, snatching sleep when they could. One evening, as the sun set over the launch pad, the crew gathered for a final briefing. Colonel Harper stood before them, his face serious. "Tomorrow, we make history," he said. "We'll be the first humans to journey beyond our solar system, the first to make contact with an alien species face to face. But more importantly, we're on a mission of mercy. We're going to save lives." He paused, looking each crew member in the eye. "It won't be easy. We'll face dangers we can't even imagine. But I want you all to remember why we're doing this. We're proving that humanity can unite for a greater cause. We're showing the universe what we're capable of when we work together." As Harper spoke, Emma felt a surge of emotion. She thought of the millions of Zarkai waiting for help, of the billions of humans counting on them. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but so was the sense of purpose. That night, as the crew tried to sleep before the big day, the air was thick with anticipation. In homes around the world, people prepared to watch the launch, many holding vigils or prayer meetings for the brave explorers. As dawn broke on launch day, the Hope stood gleaming on the pad, ready for its historic journey. The crew donned their spacesuits, each lost in their own thoughts. Emma took one last look at the blue sky above. The next time she saw it, she would be returning from the stars, forever changed by the adventure ahead. With a deep breath, she stepped into the ship. It was time to save the Zarkai. The roar of engines filled the air as the Hope lifted off from Earth. Millions watched from the ground and billions more on screens around the world as the massive ship rose into the sky, carrying humanity's dreams and the fate of an alien species with it. Inside the ship, the crew was pushed back into their seats by the immense force of acceleration. Dr. Emma Reeves gripped her armrests tightly, her heart pounding. This was it. They were really leaving Earth. "Status report." Colonel Harper's voice crackled over the intercom. "All systems nominal," replied Lai Wei from his station at engineering. "The new propulsion system is performing even better than expected." As the ship broke free of Earth's atmosphere, a cheer went up from the crew. They had cleared the first hurdle. Now, the real journey began. Days turned into weeks as the Hope sped through the solar system. The crew settled into their routines, each focused on their specific tasks. Dr. Amina Osei spent hours fine-tuning the communication systems, ensuring they could maintain contact with both Earth and the Zarkai fleet. 1 month into their journey, they passed the orbit of Mars. As the red planet came into view, Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. To think, she mused to Sarah Chen, who was floating next to her by the viewport. Just a few years ago, reaching Mars was our biggest dream. Now look at us. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the stars beyond. And soon, we'll be going where no human has gone before. The journey wasn't without its challenges. 3 months in, a micrometeoroid struck the ship, causing a small air leak. The crew worked frantically to locate and seal the breach. Lai Wei's quick thinking and Colonel Harper's steady leadership saw them through the crisis, but it was a stark reminder of the dangers they faced. As they approached the edge of the solar system, excitement began to build. They were about to go where no human had ever been before. "Preparing for light speed jump," announced Lai Wei, his fingers dancing over his console. The crew strapped themselves in. This was the moment of truth. The experimental drive, based partly on Zarkai technology, was about to be put to the ultimate test. Initiating jump in 3, 2, 1. The stars outside the viewport suddenly stretched into lines of light. The ship shuddered, and for a heart-stopping moment, Emma feared something had gone wrong. Then, everything smoothed out. Jump successful. Lai Wei shouted, unable to contain his excitement. We're now traveling at speeds beyond anything humanity has ever achieved. The crew erupted in cheers and hugs. They had done it. They were truly on their way to the stars. As the journey continued, the team worked tirelessly. Dr. Mike Rodriguez and his team of xenobiologists prepared for their meeting with the Zarkai, studying the alien biology and preparing potential medical treatments. Emma spent her days learning more of the Zarkai language, determined to greet them in their own tongue when they arrived. The aliens continued to send messages, each one filled with growing hope and gratitude. But the long journey also took its toll. Homesickness set in for many crew members. The psychological team worked overtime, helping everyone cope with the stress and isolation of deep space travel. One day, about 1.5 years into their journey, Amina made an exciting announcement. "I'm picking up strong signals," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "It's them. We're getting close to the Zarkai fleet." The news energized the entire crew. After months of travel through empty space, they were finally nearing their goal. As they approached the coordinates of the Zarkai fleet, tension mounted. What would these aliens look like in person? How would they react to seeing humans for the first time? Finally, after 2 years of travel, Colonel Harper's voice came over the intercom. "All hands to stations. We're making our final approach to the Zarkai fleet." Emma rushed to the viewport, her heart racing. As she looked out into space, she gasped. There, against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars, floated hundreds of massive ships. The design was like nothing she had ever seen, all sweeping curves and iridescent surfaces that seemed to shimmer in the starlight. "It's beautiful," she whispered. As the Hope drew closer to the alien fleet, a message came through. Emma listened, then turned to the crew with tears in her eyes and a smile on her face. "They're welcoming us," she said. "We made it. We're here." The human ship moved in closer, ready to make history. The rescue mission was about to begin. As the Hope docked with the main Zarkai ship, the human crew held their breath. The airlock hissed, and for the first time, humans and Zarkai stood face to face. The aliens were tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with colors. They had large, almond-shaped eyes that blinked slowly as they took in the sight of the humans. Dr. Emma Reeves stepped forward, her heart pounding. She took a deep breath and spoke the words she had practiced for months. "Greetings, friends. We come in peace and friendship to offer our help." The lead Zarkai, a being named Zorn, responded in a melodious voice that the translation devices rendered into English. "Welcome, brave humans. Your journey to aid us will be remembered for generations to come." The two groups mingled, each fascinated by the other. Dr. Mike Rodriguez and his medical team immediately began checking the health of the Zarkai, while Lai Wei and his engineers were escorted to examine the failed propulsion systems. Li's eyes widened as he saw the alien engine room. "This is incredible," he muttered, running his hand over a piece of equipment. "Their technology is so advanced, yet so different from ours." The Zarkai chief engineer, Vex, explained their problem. "Our quantum fold drives were damaged when we fled our home. We've been unable to repair them with our limited resources." Lai nodded, his mind already racing with ideas. "We might not understand your quantum technology fully, but maybe we can adapt some of our solutions to work with your systems." As the engineers got to work, Dr. Amina Osai focused on improving communication between the two fleets. She worked tirelessly to integrate human and Zarkai communication systems, enabling seamless information exchange. Days turned into weeks as the human team worked alongside their alien counterparts. Progress was slow at first, as both sides struggled to understand each other's technology and methods. One day, while examining a particularly complex piece of Zarkai equipment, Lai had an idea. "What if we combine their quantum technology with our fusion reactors?" he suggested to Colonel Harper. "It might provide the power boost they need." The colonel looked skeptical, but nodded. "It's worth a try. Run it by the Zarkai engineers." To everyone's surprise, the Zarkai were intrigued by the idea. They had never considered such a hybrid approach. Working together, the human and alien engineers began to design a new type of propulsion system, one that combined the best of both their technologies. But the work wasn't without its challenges. A month into the repairs, a power surge in one of the Zarkai ships caused a series of explosions. The human and Zarkai crews worked side by side to evacuate the damaged areas and contain the fires. As Emma helped the injured Zarkai to safety, she was struck by how natural it felt to work alongside these alien beings. Despite their differences in moments of crisis, they were united by a common goal. The incident brought the two species even closer together. The Zarkai were deeply moved by the humans' willingness to risk their lives to help. In turn, the human crew gained a deeper appreciation for the Zarkai's resilience and adaptability. As the weeks turned into months, progress on the repairs accelerated. The hybrid propulsion system began to take shape, a testament to what could be achieved when two civilizations worked together. One day, as Lai and Vex were making final adjustments to the prototype, Lai noticed something strange. "These equations," he said, pointing to a Zarkai display. "They're similar to some theoretical work we were doing on Earth, but you've taken it so much further." Vex tilted his head. A gesture the humans had learned indicated curiosity. Perhaps our peoples were always meant to meet, to share knowledge and grow together. Finally, after 3 months of non-stop work, the moment of truth arrived. It was time to test the new hybrid propulsion system. The human and Zarkai crews gathered in the main control room of the lead alien ship. Tension filled the air as Lai Wei and Vex initiated the startup sequence. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the ship began to hum with power. The Zarkai instruments sprang to life, showing energy levels they hadn't seen since before their long drift in space. A cheer went up from both human and alien throats. They had done it. The Zarkai ships could move again. As the celebration continued around her, Emma found herself standing next to Zorn. The Zarkai leader turned to her, his large eyes shimmering with what she now recognized as emotion. "Your people have saved us," Zorn said softly. "We can never repay this debt." Emma smiled, feeling the warmth in her chest. "There is no debt between friends," she replied. "This is just the beginning of what our peoples can achieve together." As human and Zarkai alike, looked out at the stars. A new sense of hope and possibility filled them all. The repair mission was a success, but more importantly, it was the start of a beautiful friendship between two civilizations from distant corners of the galaxy. With the immediate crisis resolved and the Zarkai fleet's propulsion systems restored, a new phase of the mission began. The human crew and their alien hosts now had time to learn about each other's cultures, histories, and ways of life. Dr. Sarah Chen, the xenoanthropologist, was in her element. She organized daily meetings between humans and Zarkai, encouraging both sides to share stories, traditions, and knowledge. One day, Sarah sat with a group of Zarkai elders, listening intently as they recounted their species' history. "Our civilization is over 10,000 of your Earth years old," one elder named Lyra explained. "We have seen empires rise and fall, and traveled to the farthest reaches of our galaxy." Sarah's eyes widened. "That's incredible. Humanity has only been exploring space for less than a century. We have so much to learn from you." Meanwhile, Colonel Harper found himself engaged in long discussions with Zorn about leadership and governance. Despite their different backgrounds, they found many common principles. "Your democracy fascinates us," Zorn admitted. "The idea that all citizens have a voice in choosing their leaders is revolutionary to us." Harper nodded thoughtfully. "It's not always easy, but we believe it's the best way to ensure fairness and progress." In another part of the Zarkai ship, Lei Wei and Vex had become fast friends. They spent hours exchanging ideas about technology and science, each amazed by the other's knowledge. "Your understanding of quantum mechanics is far beyond ours," Lei said, shaking his head in wonder as Vex explained a complex theory. Vex's skin rippled with colors, a sign of excitement. "Perhaps, but your creativity in applying scientific principles is truly remarkable. We would never have thought to combine technologies as you did to save our fleet." Dr. Emma Reeves found herself drawn to the Zarkai's artistic traditions. She watched in awe as a Zarkai artist named Mira created a sculpture that seemed to change shape and color as it moved. "Our art is a reflection of the ever-changing nature of the universe," Mira explained. "We believe that true beauty lies in transformation." Emma smiled, thinking of the static paintings and sculptures in Earth's museums. "I can't wait to show this to the artists back home. It will revolutionize how we think about art." Even Dr. Mike Rodriguez, usually focused solely on his medical research, found himself captivated by Zarkai cuisine. The aliens had developed ways to grow food in space that produced flavors unlike anything on Earth. "This is incredible," Mike exclaimed, tasting a fruit-like substance that fizzy like soda. "The nutritional value of this food could solve many of our problems with long-term space travel." As the days passed, both humans and Zarkai found their perspectives changing. The humans were humbled by the vast knowledge and experience of their alien friends, while the Zarkai were inspired by humanity's adaptability and determination. One evening, Emma found herself standing with Zorn, looking out at the stars. "I never imagined I'd be here," she said softly, standing on an alien ship looking at unfamiliar constellations. Zorn's large eyes blinked slowly. "And we never imagined we would find friends among a species so different from our own. Yet here we are." Emma nodded, feeling a deep sense of connection. "Do you think our peoples will stay in contact after this mission is over?" "I believe we must," Zorn replied. "Both our species have much to gain from continued friendship, and perhaps together we can explore the galaxy in ways neither of us could alone." The idea sparked excitement among both crews. Plans began to form for future joint missions, cultural exchange programs, and scientific collaborations. As their time together drew to a close, the humans and Zarkai organized a grand celebration. The main hall of the Zarkai ship was decorated with a mix of human and alien art. Foods from both cultures were served, and music, a mix of Earth's melodies and the haunting tones of Zarkai songs, filled the air. Colonel Harper raised a glass, filled with a shimmering Zarkai beverage, and addressed the gathered crowd. When we left Earth, we thought we were on a mission to save a stranded alien fleet, but we've gained so much more. We've made friends, expanded our understanding of the universe, and taken humanity's first real steps into the galactic community. Zorn stepped forward to join him. And we, who thought our journey was at an end, have found a new beginning. Together, our peoples will write the next chapter of our histories. As human and Zarkai alike cheered, a sense of infinite possibility filled the room. The universe, it seemed, was full of wonders waiting to be discovered, and now they would explore it together. The day of departure had finally arrived. After months of working together, it was time for the human crew to begin their journey back to Earth. The Zarkai fleet, now fully repaired and upgraded, was ready to resume its own travels. As the humans prepared to board the Hope, emotions ran high. What had begun as a rescue mission had turned into something much more profound: the birth of an interstellar friendship. Dr. Emma Reeves stood at the airlock, saying goodbye to her Zarkai friends. Tears glistened in her eyes as she hugged Zorn. "I never thought saying goodbye to an alien would be so hard," she said with a sad smile. Zorn's skin rippled with colors that Emma now recognized as a mix of sadness and affection. "This is not goodbye, Emma. It is only the beginning of our journey together." Nearby, Lai Wei was having a final conversation with Vex. The two engineers had formed a close bond over their shared love of technology. "Remember," Lai said, "if you have any problems with the new hybrid drive system, just call. I'll answer even if I have to build a quantum communicator myself." Vex made a sound that the humans had learned was laughter. "And if you need help with your backward Earth technology, you know where to find me." Colonel Harper and Zorn stood together, overlooking the docking bay. "You know," Harper said, "when we first received your distress call, we had no idea what to expect. We certainly never imagined we'd be leaving with so much more than we came with." Zorn nodded solemnly. "You came to us as saviors, but you leave this family. The Zarkai will never forget what humanity has done for us." As the last of the crew boarded the Hope, both humans and Zarkai gathered to watch the departure. The ship's engines hummed to life, a perfect blend of human and Zarkai technology. Just as the Hope was about to disengage from the Zarkai mothership, an alarm sounded. For a moment, everyone froze, fearing something had gone wrong at the last minute. But then Dr. Amina Osoi's voice came over the intercom, filled with excitement. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth." They'd been working on boosting the signal strength, and they'd finally broken through. The main screen lit up, showing the smiling face of the United Nations Secretary General. "Congratulations to our brave crew and our new Zarkai friends. Your success has inspired the entire world. We eagerly await your return and the new era of interstellar cooperation you have initiated." Cheers erupted from both the human and Zarkai crews. This successful contact was proof that the two civilizations could stay connected across the vast distances of space. With renewed excitement, the Hope began its journey home, escorted part of the way by a group of Zarkai ships. As Earth's ship accelerated away, the aliens treated the humans to a breathtaking display of lights and movement, their ships dancing among the stars in a farewell salute. The journey back to Earth was filled with anticipation. The crew spent their time preparing reports, organizing the vast amount of data they had collected, and continuing to learn from the cultural and scientific exchanges with the Zarkai. As they approached the solar system, Emma found herself once again standing at the viewport, this time with Sarah Chen at her side. The familiar sight of their home star growing larger filled them with emotion. "You know," Sarah said thoughtfully, "I think this mission has changed the course of human history. We're not alone in the universe, and more than that, we'd found friends among the stars." Emma nodded, her eyes fixed on the approaching blue marble of Earth. "We left home to save a stranded alien fleet, but we ended up discovering a whole new future for humanity." When the Hope finally landed on Earth, it was to a hero's welcome. Crowds cheered, flags waved, and news cameras flashed as the crew stepped onto home soil. But for the returning heroes, the real excitement was yet to come. In the days and weeks that followed, the crew shared their experiences with the world. Scientists pored over the data they had brought back, marveling at the advances in technology and understanding it represented. World leaders began discussions on how to move forward in this new era of interstellar relations. And in classrooms and homes around the world, children looked up at the stars with new wonder, dreaming of the day when they too might journey out to meet their new friends in the cosmos. As Emma watched a group of students excitedly discussing plans for future space missions, she smiled to herself. The rescue of a stranded alien fleet had turned into something far greater, the beginning of humanity's true journey into the stars, hand in hand with their new alien allies. The universe, it seemed, was no longer a vast, empty place. It was filled with potential friends, waiting to be discovered. And humanity was ready for the adventure.